In this video, I want to show you how you can collect registrations for your WebinarJam webinar without using any of their templates and without using the register button that you can embed in your own pages. There are a lot of people having problems with this button when they embed it in their own ClickFunnels or whatever they use to build their landing pages. It sometimes won't open, or it will take a really long time to open, which hurts your conversion. So I want to show you how you can use your very own tool and go through Zapier to register people for your webinar. So in my case, I want to use a form that has nothing to do with WebinarJam. This is a tool that allows you to build refer a friend campaigns, and I want people to sign up through this form, not only for the refer a friend campaign, but also in WebinarJam. And you can use this to build forms with your email marketing software, for example, to make people sign up for your newsletter. But you could also, with the same click on the sign up now, you could sign them up for a webinar. Keep in mind, this is maybe not so good for evergreen webinars or webinars with multiple appointments. In my case, it's really good because I have a one-time event, which is why in this example, we will hard code which webinar appointment, which exact webinar event this will be. There surely are ways to do it flexible so that people can also access what webinar they want to choose, but that is very advanced. So all the instructions are for signing people up through a form that has nothing to do with WebinarJam to a specific WebinarJam event. And to make things a little easier, I'm going through Zapier, and in the beginning here, you can use pretty much any input, any email marketing software like MailChimp, anything that can deliver the first name and the email address, which is the minimum amount that we need to make a registration. Anything that can deliver this to Zapier will be fine. In my case, I'll use a webhook for viral loops. I'll skip over this. Just have a try. It shouldn't be too difficult. Now, the really interesting part is setting up the webhook. There is a WebinarJam Zapier integration, but it doesn't have actions, only triggers. So if somebody signs up through WebinarJam, you could do something else with that. You could send that person to your email marketing software. What you cannot do through the thing that WebinarJam built for us at the moment is have an email marketing software on the inside and have WebinarJam on the outgoing action. They don't have actions. So what we use instead is a webhook. In this case, we'll be using a post webhook. And the URL for this you need to get from WebinarJam. You need to find your webinar. It has to be that specific webinar. And go to API and custom integrations, and we need to click on the API documentation link. And if you use the new WebinarJam that looks like this, then you need to open this PDF. In the other case, there's another PDF here. They almost look the same, but they have other links in it. So I'm in the new WebinarJam, so I click here. Already downloaded 3 times. Okay, so we need to search for register a person to a specific webinar. That is what we want to do. We need this URL. Paste it in Zapier. Make sure that you don't have blank spaces here. Payload load type, I think this is fine. Now we can go back to this PDF and we can see what we have to put in for the API to register our webinar attendee. And as you can see, every field with 1 star is required. We need the API key. This is like key to your whole account. It unlocks access to your WebinarJam account through another software. So you need to keep the secret. That's why it's blurred out. Next is the webinar ID, which is the Webby code. For my webinar, I have the first name required. And now this is interesting. I'm not writing anything here because I want the catch action here, the trigger action to fill this out. So you can just click here. In my case, I want the user first name. And again, we want the user email. That might be named differently depending on what input you use. You know, just make sure that you catch the right stuff here. Okay, and now this is the thing that made me go crazy, the schedule parameter. Apparently, if you have a webinar with multiple schedule links, you can tell it which one exactly. And the first one, the first appointment, is numbered with 0. The second appointment is 1. The third appointment is 2. So in my case, I only have one appointment. So I have to write 0 for it to take the first appointment. I think this can all stay like this. Let's click continue. Okay, we should check the information one more time. Make sure that this is filled out from the trigger. And then let's hit create and continue and see if the webinar API responded. It said test successful. That means if I now go into the analytics of my webinar, this dummy person should be registered. Alice at test.com. Now these people do get the registration confirmation email, but we completely circumvented, we didn't use at all their templates or an embedded button. We used another form that sent out this trigger and then it was turned into this action. One more remark, we're using Zapier here as a workaround. The email marketing software that you have might be able to make HTTP post requests, so you might not have to use Zapier. This is just one way of doing it, and maybe you can adapt it to another software. I hope this helps you to create the WebinarJam sign up process however you want to do it. And yeah, let me know if this gave you some ideas.